hot mic. Let's see what we got here.
1 minute.
All right. Let's get this party started.
From the Sunshine State, the great state of Florida, and what does your Uncle Charlotte always say? The craziest people in America come from the Bronx and all of Florida. I'm Big Bubba, cross my black car. It's booby traps and pit bulls cross my backyard. I'm still strapped, boy, these handguns on Vanguard. I like going against the grain cause my head hard. Babe, I used to thug hard to see this crack hard. I don't duck nothing but the motherfucking task force. Me and 2 Root running shit, we like the fat boys. Paid cash for it, so I try this and fast forward. I put it all in your face like you asked for. Most of you love frontin' like the dashboard. I get it chalked out like the blackboard. I got the ghetto off glass like the backboard. Most of my niggas ride till it ain't no gas for. We been outside like ain't no map for. Been outside like ain't no map for.
I swear to God, these motherfucking jets in Florida is different. Man, I was at this house the other night. Gave her little son one melatonin, thinking this little motherfucker gonna go to sleep. Hell no, the little motherfucker ain't go to sleep. I ended up giving this little the whole goddamn bottle. He ate them all. It was up all motherfucking night. I ain't getting
I'm
no
in all
peace.
white ones. Picture could get me a Cy Young. We feel like nuns. No giving like Spice One. We feel like bums. Don't change that I might run. Feel like fun. Shit sit when the price jump. I got white bumps. These bags kill it price plump. You only die once. I know you a snake with a sliced tongue. I can't trust you. I'ma dust you. Ain't no checking temperature. It's you, then it's you. These laws I'm stuck to. You know how many 12-12s I run through? My get cut, but my girlfriends get cut loose. My get hit like kung fu. I love the streets, but they never told me I love you.
Yeah, I already know. I'm straight from Florida, G. You know, bottom of the motherfucking map. Home of motherfucking Uncle Luke. Home of Trick Daddy. Home of Kodak Black. Nothing but gold teeth, wigs, and motherfucking sticks. You already know. Bottom of the map. FLA. Shaped like a motherfucking pistol. Have you, want it? I ain't got no damn business at church. Cause all I be doing is looking at damn prints in that bitch. I'm talking about, man. You know how up it is? Like, you ever got hard in church before? Like, ain't that some shit? You get hard in church when you in that, like, you know you wrong. You know you wrong, but...
Welcome back. You're back on the bench. Oh, no. That's very loud. Why is that so loud in my headphone?
Yeah.
Welcome back. You're back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available, and don't forget, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Slightly different setup, so I got to know where to look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little disorienting right now.
Yeah. Sometimes when the camera's like up or down, some people think I'm cross-eyed because I'm looking, you know what I mean? Because if I look right at, well, I'm trying to look at me, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. It's a little tricky, but it's all good. I like the new, I like the artwork in the background.
Yeah, but you got some artwork here, little New York
City
stuff.
Yeah, good thing I finally went last year for the first time.
What was your impression of New York City?
It was cool. We did some hopping around. It was cool. Yeah. I understand what they're saying about the city is dirty and you had to get through the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't get to visit all of the boroughs though. I went to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And a couple of places in Jersey. So I
didn't go to Manhattan?
And I went to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Jersey. So I got to go back and touch Queens and
the Bronx.
Oh, I went to Long Island too.
You did go to Long Island? Okay.
Yeah, I went to I have an uncle in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
When I was I was in college, I indirectly bought some cocaine in New York. Yeah. We were with this guy, one of my friends, his cousin was up from Atlanta, and he's like, hey man, you got some money? I'm like, yeah. And we were drunk, and so I gave him the money. I'm usually, tight-fisted with the money and cheap. And then next thing you know, he bought some cocaine and used it. So I guess I got an assist. I'm like the John Stockton.
I was about to say, yeah, there you go.
Hey, it's good stuff, man.
All-time leader.
I hope the statute of limitations passed on that.
We got some more good stuff for you today, as we're going to be talking about, it's been a while since we talked about the NFL. I have a quarterback rankings list, okay, and the Mahomes has made the news in other ways. We'll talk about that, okay.
His stupid wife?
No, it's his stupid radio host, actually.
Oh.
Talking about this NBA Summer League and Bronny James and Deion Sanders, and you may get to Larsa or Pippen. Which is weird.
Who hasn't gotten her?
She's still keeping her name. I don't know about that.
That's like her only claim to fame. I mean, think about it. If you're just a random 51-year-old whore, like what are you? What good are you? But you carry around Scottie Pippen's name, the 6-time champion, Hall of Famer. Now you're something. Now people care.
Yeah.
Like, in all seriousness, I don't say that lightly. If she doesn't have the Pippen name, who cares if she's banged half the NBA?
If she doesn't have the Pippen name, does she get to bang half the NBA?
I think there's some easy targets in the league. Spread your legs. Bit of a looker, you'll get laid. It ain't hard.
It ain't hard?
It needs to be hard, but
I don't know. It's a lot of women that's trying to get banged by the NBA guy.
You really?
Hell yeah. You should see when the All-Star come to the different cities, especially when they come into Orlando. You know what I mean?
Just down there working the hotel circuit. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Well, I mean, fact is, you're right, though. The fact that she's like connected to him originally.
Yeah, that's
she
what
got
I'm
in
asking.
that circle.
Right.
Yeah, it's really about just getting in the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that.
But
I've been watching a ton of Summer League.
I haven't watched that much yet.
Yeah, I've been, first of all, I'm a fan, of a particular team. You're not a teams guy.
Yeah.
So anytime that the 76ers have a guy in the Summer League, I'm all of a sudden a Summer League expert. So I'm watching all these Summer League games and stacking up my guys versus other guys. So that's just, it's just a project I take underway when we have a high pick. And I'm loving what I'm seeing. I only got to saw one game from our number 3 overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, but love what I saw there. And I wanted to see Ace Bailey in the second game.
Yeah.
And he bounced back and had a good, solid performance. I think even a little better than solid, actually. 18, a few rebounds. Looked more interested, more active in that game. In his second Summer League game. Okay. And it's been a few other good performances and bad. You got the Washington, the number 1 overall pick from last year.
The 2 pick.
Alex Sarr. He had a terrible game.
And he laid an egg last year with
and he laid an egg last year in the Summer League. Yeah. Now during the season he showed some flashes here and there. They were really, more there than here. But, we know that was a weak class and this and that. But I mean, to go like 0 for whatever in a Summer League game is really tough to do when you're 6'11".
In your second summer. I mean, like
second summer.
Whatever anxiety you may have had, like you've played in NBA games, this should be a cakewalk for you.
Exactly.
The majority, I mean, the reality in a Summer League game, to put some of these performances in context, is that like the majority of the people on the court at any given time are not going to be NBA players during the regular season.
Right.
Maybe 2 per team will be rotational players on an NBA team. The rest will be, two-way guys, overseas guys, what have you. So for you to play an entire NBA season, come back and drop an 0 for 12, you suck. Like, you're really bad.
Yeah, that's really rough, especially for a Wizards team. Since I can't say for a Wizards team, they need more talent, man. They need a lot more talent. They need a lot more guys. Now, I bring all of that up to say I'm transitioning over to Bronny here while we're on the Summer League. Now I'm going to play a quick video clip, and this is Doug Gottlieb, who's a radio host, and also he's a coach of a Division I team. Now there's a little history between Gottlieb and Bronny and LeBron as Gottlieb is coaching for he took over a really bad collegiate basketball team, so the roster isn't ideal. And last year he came out and said Bronny wouldn't even start on his college team. At the same time, Bronny was starting a NBA game, so that got a lot of flock. And then LeBron came and trashed Doug on Twitter and all of that. So here goes Doug on Bronny and his performances so far in the Summer League, and then we'll discuss, and I'll get to some stats here.
And by and large, if you go team to team, guys that are coming back for second year of Summer League after playing any amount of time in the NBA, and generally they dominate. 1, they get the most opportunities. 2, they know whatever you're running offensively, they know it. And 3, they've played against the highest level of competition. This is kind of easy. And most guys who are playing in Summer League are not NBA players. That's why they're in Summer League. I know. I was in Summer League with the Lakers.
So that's another piece to it too, right? Doug was actually played in the Summer League for the Lakers, right? So and Bronny has gotten off to a uneven start. You know, he sat out the first Summer League game, which was interesting to me. Second game, he comes in, plays a few minutes, 10 minutes. He's 3 for 7. You know what I mean? So it's neither here or there. 3 for 7 and 0 assists, 2 rebounds. You know, I guess that's fine. But again, like you said earlier, and Doug is saying, you're in your second year. You're supposed to be dominating or at least having strong performances in your second year. Now, here goes the second game where he played a lot more. I watched this game, actually, last night. I watched this entire game. Shame on me. And Bronny really struggled, man. He played more minutes. He was 1 for 5, 0 for 2 from 3. He had 3 turnovers and really looked out of sorts. Now, another piece to this, too, is apparently, like, the excuse for some of these guys is, like, the main focus is Las Vegas Summer League.
True.
That's coming up. So, you know, these are really like a preseason Summer League to the real Summer League. So these games don't even. But I don't know. I don't buy that.
I believe there's only like 4 or 6 teams per venue playing these
right now in the Salt Lake and in the
Golden State.
Right.
Yeah. So but the entire league's going to be involved. I think beginning tomorrow. Yeah. In the Vegas Summer League, which is sort of set up like a league with a tournament.
So what do you take from Bronny's early struggles in the Summer League versus and also like is he saving his real juice for Vegas? That's what's going on?
I'm not a big believer in guys saving juice because it's like when you play basketball, when you play your sport, you are who you are. Like how do you calibrate and say, oh, I'm just not really going right now? You know, that doesn't make much sense. You know, so I don't think you're suddenly going to see him play dramatically different in Vegas. I'd be really surprised. And if you're not interested in playing or you're going at such a speed that you're ineffective, why bother playing? I mean, plenty of people sit out these Summer League games. You know, your guy VJ Edge came out outstanding game 1 and then shut it down apparently.
Well, apparently he has an injury. Allegedly.
But like I don't understand. Like to me, when you step on a court, you're gonna be and play as you are. So if this is, you know, and again, part of being good is that you could step on a Summer League court and function at a pretty high level, pretty casually. Yeah, it shouldn't be a struggle for a second-year guy to have a good, solid game. And it doesn't have to be a crazy stats game. No. But you're a guy that's just pretty much in control of whatever you're doing, offensively or defensively. You know, in whatever facet you're participating, you're just poised and making the right play. And if he's struggling to do that, there's not a lot of optimism.
That's basically my sentiment. It's just not a lot of optimism. Where, you know, and a lot of people are rooting for him and deservingly so, I guess. But I just don't see it. I didn't see it last year, and a lot of people came at me for that. And I don't know. I don't see it. If you guys see it, I don't know. And it's only going to be so long. You can use the age and the near death experience that he had. It's like, you know, it's excuses are it gets late early. As I said, you know, a few months ago, it gets late early. You know what I mean? And hey, this is his second summer league. What we're going to get to his third or fourth summer league, and he's still going to be struggling. And then what? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then as LeBron is aging himself out of the league, I can't see himself more than 1 or 2 more years. Definitely not more than 1 year on the Lakers. You know what I mean? So where does that leave Bronny? If he's not performing and LeBron is not going to be on the Lakers anymore, what is he just going to follow LeBron wherever he goes? What is this, a record label? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's I don't know. And they're already talking about as the days go by, they can see LeBron being moved from the Lakers. Just all of the tea leaves, what's going on, and things like that with the team. They're trying to transition more towards a Luka centric Lakers team and roster, which LeBron doesn't necessarily fit around. So, yeah.
It's a non-talking point. I mean, until he plays well enough to make a difference, why are we talking about him?
Yeah.
Just another guy slopping around in the summer league. I mean, who gives a damn? Seriously, like we can't.
What if he's going to start NBA games?
Well, he probably won't. I mean, like you said, I mean, you're on the big thing there. The further LeBron falls out of the Laker priority, the less the less importance, the less relevance, the less leverage he has in any of this. Yeah. If the Lakers are potentially preparing to move forward without him in the next 12 months or possibly earlier, they don't give two shits about Bronny's development or any of that. That the juice of that story was last year. Either he can function as an NBA guy on his own and help a team, or he can't.
Yeah.
And it's looking like he probably can at any sort of important level.
Yeah. And you can't tell me that they don't care in the summer league. Because Bronny got benched last night. I'm here to tell you. Got benched. Didn't play the last few minutes, and the Lakers came back and won that game. And I could tell you they won that game because they sat Bronny down. And he didn't play like the last 6 minutes down the stretch of that game. So whatever. We'll see how that transitions and goes as we go along here. Now, hold on, I did want to mention this though on the Bronny thing. I knew I was missing something. So apparently, in this Vegas tournament that's coming up, they have a Cooper Flag versus Dallas Mavericks and Cooper Flag versus the Lakers and Bronny James, and those tickets are just going through the roof. I mean, they're shattering summer league records for tickets sold, and it's all around Cooper Flag versus Bronny James. Who's buying? Who's doing this? Who's driving the cost up to watch Cooper Flag versus Bronny James?
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Nah, I went to summer league once. I saw it was when Lonzo and Kyle Kuzma were on the Lakers. Yeah, and it was a good fun watch. I mean, there was a genuine buzz in the arena watching Lonzo play. But it's not something you spend extra money for.
No, man.
You're crazy.
I watched LeBron for free. Yeah. when he was here. Yeah. When it was here. Now Orlando doesn't have it anymore. But whatever. But I just wanted to mention that as a small TP. We'll move forward here. Once again, you're on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. Shout out to Eb, man. Jimmy Green. She said, "Hello, fellas. Love your shirt, Bubba. Brian, where's yours?" I'll get to that in a second. But yes, Jimmy Green, the plant lady. Okay. She knows everything about plants, and she loves plants. And if you're a plant lady, a plant man, unfortunately, my plant passed away as I was moving.
Really?
But I'm going to get me another one.
During the move?
No, it's complicated. It's complicated. And but I'm going to get me another one. And in the edit, we'll put up her information, but it's Jimmy Green. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And she says, I did bring your shirt, Pink.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I did bring it. It's nice quality, too, man.
Good. I would be disappointed if it weren't top quality.
And she's nice because she was selling them for $25. Only had 21 on me. Well, actually, I had 23, but it was all in quarters and pennies and dimes. Okay. And I told her, I said, hey, man, when 50 Cent was selling dope, he took pennies and nickels and dimes. That's what set him apart from everybody else on the street. You got to get with the program, man. Take whatever you can. You know, churches are taking, cash apps now.
Take anything. Don't get me started. They'll take a young boy's virginity.
Oh, my gosh. That's the Vatican.
That's the church.
That's the Vatican, man. But yeah, man.
Remember that pastor that lined
No,
up
I
all
know.
the
I
ladies on
was
the
thinking
beach?
about it. Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that. And then you got the Atlanta guy, the buff Atlanta black preacher or something or whatever.
Well, what's he got going on?
We talked about it on the show. He was doing something. I don't know if it was with boys or girls, but I do remember that.
They're always doing
They were underage.
Oh, very disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing, man. I'm going to get to something else that was very disappointing. I wanted to get the direct quote here, but Deion Sanders, man. He's, they had the Big 12, I guess you could say press conference, a press run. So they're going with everybody. And then, of course, Deion is going to be the main attraction there of all the coaches who have something to say about the upcoming season. And he was talking about the NIL and they needed a salary cap. Now, he has mentioned this in the past, but he went a little more in detail and he was more adamant about it today. Okay. Now here's what he says. He says, I wish there was a cap at the Big 12 coaches roundtable. That's what they call it. Like the top of the line player makes this. And if you're not that type of guy, you're not going to make that. That's what the NFL does. So the problem is you got a guy that's not that darn good, but he can go to another school and they give him $500,000. You can't compete with that. It doesn't make sense. And he was basically saying that, you understand darn near why they're in the playoffs. It's kind of hard to compete with somebody who's given 25 to 30 million to a freshman class. It's crazy. And went on to say like you're going to continue to see all the same teams in the college football playoffs because they're the ones, the powerhouses who have the money. I have several issues with this. Number one, it's easy to see. It's easy to see that this is a cop out. This is a, if we struggle this season, I'm telling you 8 months in advance why we struggled this season. We can't compete with the bigger guys, and
so he's pissing on the crops.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I have. Okay, the second issue I have with this is, and yes, I'm still on this. I'm not leaving this. Is okay. You guys told me that he was leaving the HBCU to go to Colorado because that's where all the money is for him, for his kids, for him to be able to compete and make the playoffs and do all of these great things that he can't do at an HBCU, and they just have all of these different, there's great facilities and a long line of checks and money, and he's just going to be able to do this and do that, and you guys beat me up on it. I'm talking about thousands and thousands of comments on Instagram and YouTube, and here we are. What is this? Second, third year? At least third, right?
Third year college.
Third year at Colorado, and Deion is saying there's not enough money at Colorado. What is this? You guys told me there was going to be a way more, and he was going to be able to compete. Now he's complaining about there's not enough money at Colorado. Third thing is, this is a precursor. He's going to leave. He's going to leave. And also, you didn't really care about a salary cap when your two kids were there. You know what I mean? When they were eating up the money. Shout out to Shador getting the Lambos or whatever cars he was getting and all of this and that good stuff. 6th-round draft pick.
I agree.
Getting millions of dollars.
I agree with the first part. I mean, a lot of this is self-serving, and Deion has just a huge pattern of just self-serving stuff. I think he's really a twisted guy. I think he says a lot of things that he positions them to be for a greater good, whether that was banging the HBCU drum when he was there. And in a way, here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with the salary cap take.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little insincere coming from him because you kind of know the situation he's in, and he's a little bit desperate to manage expectations for what this team's going to look like. And but I do think the salary cap or some sort of financial controls are going to be in place. It is also insincere to say, though, that the same teams win all the time, because we had the same teams winning all the time before the NIL era. So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, the most financially supported teams are going to be in the final mix. Yeah. It's not an even playing field, and it probably never will be. And so the teams that go out and spend the money, and you're just spending the money differently. Before it was pouring money into these facilities and all these little gadgets and things. And now, because you can play the players overtly, it's just buying a roster every year and turning it over. But as a college football fan, and really just a fan of development, like not having a salary cap of any kind and not having any essentially contractual integrity with the transfer portal. Every year is a free-for-all, and you're going to price yourselves into some really difficult situations. And I don't know that we're there yet, but when some of these teams make the big mistake, they sign a guy to big money and he gets hurt and never performs well, or just doesn't perform well without injury, and they've got like a real sunken cost there. How is college football going to react to that?
That's why I don't like the salary cap. It's one of the reasons why I don't. There's many reasons why I don't. I mean, when they were like gigantically overly paying these coaches, when players weren't getting paid at all, there was no gripe about that. You know what I mean? And they didn't get the job done. And really, we know that players, they drive the business. I mean, they just do, and that's in every sport. And there's a ton of money in collegiate sports. That's the reason for the NIL to begin with. You know what I mean? And then also, it's like we're limiting these players. Now all of a sudden we get to the point where they can earn money legally. You don't have to go under the table. Now we're gonna just cut their water short. Allow these are massive schools. They have massive amount of money. They're not hurt. These institutions are not being hurt by the money that they're shelling out. There was what I mean. So if we put a salary cap on it, they're going to get they're going to be able to keep more of their money. And why should they? Why? When the players are generating all of it for them. It's just, you know what I mean? So we're going to limit the players and how much they can earn and give more money to the institution. I don't know. I understand, I do understand the other side of it, but I don't agree with it. I can understand it, but I don't agree with it. It's not like it doesn't make any sense at all. It does. But, and then when you go with a salary cap, right? Like you said, you got the injury piece. You have the piece, like you said, if a guy just doesn't work out. Like what if we paid Richardson, Anthony Richardson, and we gave him a fucking, whatever, a crazy deal that was the most in history. You know what I mean? And he plays whatever he played for the Gators, 5-6 games in 3 years or whatever. A huge talent, but then you're just screwed for whatever 3 to 4 years while he's there. Because it's just like then it becomes the NBA. You don't like the NBA, the way it's structured. That's what you're doing. You won't be able to keep teams together.
Well, you can't. There's no mechanism to keep teams together in college football or college basketball. What
do you mean?
There's no mechanism to keep a team together.
No, but I'm saying like guys are hitting the portal like after a year or two.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
and that's
nothing
now
like,
to get more money, right? Like not even because of pay, or they could just not even because of playing time or whatever, or a coach or this. It's to get more money. So if you put a salary cap in place and you pay a guy, right? And again, it's too many. It's I don't know. That would really throw a lot of monkey wrenches in, and I think the game will suffer, man. I think it would suffer.
I don't think so at all. I do not think so at all. I think the way you have right now, it's a complete mercenary environment. It's okay for people to make money, but you have nothing. Like in an NFL or NBA, you have contracts, multi-year contracts. So you sign a guy and you have a period of time that he's going to be committed to your organization or what have you. But everything in college football, college basketball is just literally year to year.
I mean, contracts are fine. I mean, but a salary cap is like a lot different.
But here's the thing, like you're saying, are we going to it's just the Wild West. Like
I'm saying a player should be able to be paid whatever an institution is willing to pay them. That's what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
And all of them. Yeah, like all 50 to 60 guys on the team.
I just think that will be the kind of it'll break the game.
It's not breaking the game now.
It's been going on for a year and a half.
Yeah.
In time, it will break the game.
In what way?
Because the finances of it are going to run completely wild. And you're just gonna, it'll just be chaos.
But what would generate the chaos? Because yes, the numbers will continuously grow.
Yeah,
but the institution's money grows each year with new TV deals, with apparel, with this. Every last single dime of that is because of the players and their success or popularity.
It'll reach a saturation point. The TV deal will reach a point where they're not going to want to offer more for that product.
But we haven't reached that in whatever
100
years of football.
If you continue with unrestricted NIL expenditures and a simultaneous free transfer portal, the game is just gonna blow through that.
Yeah, those are two separate things. Like
but they're connected because that's part of the issue. You have both. You have no financial constraint and no restraint on movement of players.
I'm not comfortable with limiting these guys the pay. We fought so hard to get it. You know what I mean? And of course I'm speaking, you know what I mean? But we fought so hard to get it, and now we're going to limit it. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with that. When these institutions have been making fucking billions for years and been getting over. Like we have fucking 100,000 more years of what's currently happening to even catch up for all the money they've fucking robbed these players from to begin with.
Ohio State, the national champions, were in the red this year. The football program lost money.
Yes, the football program, not Ohio State, the institution.
But they're not going to.
They're
not going to funnel all that there.
And that's a misleading stat and number because of course each institution gives a number, you know, to the football team, basketball team, and soccer and this and that. You know what I mean? But they have to share the revenue that they earn. They share between all of the sports. So it's not even the same. It's not even the same pie.
But Ohio State for the last 10 years has been top 3. Their budget for football has been in the top 3 for the last 10 years.
As far as what they've been shelling out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they buy this roster and they run in the red. That's not sustainable.
What I'm saying is there's not a direct correlation.
What's that?
That's not a direct correlation. It's not a hand in hand. Because the money that the football team earns, there's a revenue share. You get what I'm saying? So
I understand this revenue share, but I don't. They're still in the red. That's the problem. They're still losing money. How many years can they do that?
That's funny money. That's an illusion, is what I'm saying.
It's not.
You're not losing money. Ohio State is fucking the amount of money they're fucking making. The sports program is making each year is ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
And they're spending more than they're making.
That's not. Oh hell no! That's not
yes,
true.
They are.
No,
they absolutely are.
No.
The
football team is not spending more money than they're earning.
Yes, they did. Last year they did.
No, and I'll look it up to make sure. But that doesn't align. Like the red would be so so large because of the revenue share. You know, like they're fighting to get rid of that. Maybe that's a part of the reason, but because of the revenue share, there's just no way. There's just no way. Now that's nothing I looked up. You read it, you saw it, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just me trying to align the dots. But yeah, that's really, really hard to believe. And if they are in the red, and I'm wrong, I say so what? So what?
So what? It's not sustainable. That's the point. You want to have a program and a sport that is sustainable over time, that can evolve.
You're saying Ohio State will dissipate over time?
Yeah, you can't run in the red forever. You're not the federal government. Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point they're going to have to tap out. Not abolish the program, but they're going to have to.
They have to rebuild,
scale back.
Like
There's
the Wizards.
No rebuilding. They'll just have to be like, we can't continue this. We don't have the money to continue it.
What's wrong with that? That's the salary cap then.
That's not.
That's the salary cap.
Not
hey guys,
what you want to do.
Next class, you gotta do something. Instead of $40 million, you gotta go down to 15. Okay, that's your salary cap then. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but that's not what you want college football to be. And college football, I mean, here's the other thing you got to realize: college football's really not a great product. It's an oversold product. In a given weekend, September September of 2025 here, in a given weekend, you might have 5 or 6 impactful games that people care about, that are actually good games.
Yeah. And
then the majority of it is, Ohio State beating somebody 42-7 and Alabama beating some shithole team 38-14. And
well, that's the way it's been. That's the way it's been.
But that's what
forever.
I'm saying. Like, it's not. That's. But now you're basically like, you're in a runaway freight train of expenditure to field these teams to play, maybe 5 meaningful games.
That's the way it's always been, Ping.
But you're not spending the same amount of money to do that.
I mean, it's the cost of doing business, man. You're saying change the cost of doing business.
The business
I understand.
is not sustainable if that's what you're going to be doing.
And again, I fully understand. I just disagree. That's all. But I do fully understand what you're saying and that part of what Deion is saying. I do understand. I just disagree. I hate it for the kids. I say take them for every fucking penny they got every single year, and make up for your forefathers, the players who played and didn't get a dime. While the institutions were making billions. That's what I say for the next at least 150 years. All right. Moving along here, okay? Let's stay in football. I'll go to NFL and come back to college, okay? There was a radio host who came out and just jumped all the way out of the car. Speaking of Mahomes, he says he's fat. He's an embarrassment. Stop the fast food. Do a sit-up. Do something. And, over the years, the last few years, every time the summer comes, you'll catch Mahomes in a non-shirt in a, whatever video at the practice facility or a workout or whatever. And they'll talk about his dad bod or whatever body and this and that. Now, his trainer had responded to that and with some aggression. He was like, "What's your address? I'll pull up." But he had to clear that up, and he was like we'll do some drills and you can see if you can throw a 30-yard pass in a 2-minute drill, throw a 30-yard pass, run down and finish the drive and this and that, basically saying that Mahomes is in shape regardless of what his body looks like. Look at Tom Brady, how he's always was able to remain in shape and finish drives and things like that, but he never had a great body either. And really, I don't know a ton of quarterbacks that has had like a great awesome body, especially the best ones of all time.
No, it's a fair point. There's most of the guys, they're not gonna. And I always wondered too, almost like if you take a guy like a Ben Roethlisberger for most of his career, and he was a guy who had like a little bit of mobility,
Yeah.
Did he practice running or agility drills at all? Was that something he did or no?
Yeah.
Did he just do little stretching, little lifting, hit his drops and release the ball. I don't know what some of these guys do.
I would say for him, yeah, lifting and stretching is probably it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question for a lot of these guys. What you're doing. Now, we both saw that quarterback show on Netflix, and it did show like some of the drills and things that he does. I mean, certainly probably not all. But I mean, he's never made made a thing about it. He's got an awkward body. He wasn't born with a classically fit physique. He's a little heavy in the upper body. He's always said like his legs and calves are almost non-existent. He's a bit of a peculiar looking guy, but he could play football at a really high level.
Right.
So I mean, I think that this guy is just out to make a name for himself by, the take with the fast food. I don't know. Is Mahomes known to enjoy fast food?
Not like
I never. I didn't know that. I mean, Usain Bolt early in his career was like a chicken nuggets guy. He was in the in Beijing knocking down nuggets before the 100 meters. So some people are like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of like a non-story. This guy's going out to take a shot at Pat, and I mean, to a degree, that Super Bowl loss hurt. It really did. For certainly the first half to 2.5 quarters, he legitimately, by any standard, played like shit.
Yeah.
And that's the fallout of that. When you don't get it done, whatever. We've talked about this before. When you don't get it done, anything unique about you is the reason you failed. And when you get it done, it's the quaint, quirky reason why you succeeded. And so him not having a classic physique, maybe not appearing to be the most fit guy, coming off a Super Bowl loss, let's poke fun at that. If he won the 3rd straight Super Bowl, this guy doesn't have anything to say.
I doubt it. I mean, it's because it's just this one guy. He's probably always wanted to get that off.
Yeah.
Maybe he has said that every single year, and this is just the year it caught on.
Well, because of the loss.
Yeah, true that. Yeah,
that's my point. Is when you lose, you're vulnerable. All the critics are out. When you win, maybe the guy says it, but nobody's picking it up, nobody's running with it.
Yeah. And on that, you're 100% right, but like that part of it is just always been so fucking weird to me. And and for me, in my thought process, it is tied to what LeBron said and this because it's like, you don't get any credit for making it to the championship. And I 1000% think you should. And the guys who don't make it to the championship, like they don't receive the same amount of flack as the guy who lost the championship. That's always been incredibly weird to me. Like there are no jokes about Josh Allen, like at all. There's no knocks. There's no negatives. There's nothing about Joe Burrow. There's nothing. Joe Burrow is the defense got to get better. Josh Allen is literally nothing. And I'm talking about just on a national level, like personal thoughts aside. There's nothing. I've never heard anything negative said about Josh Allen. Now, Lamar is Lamar. We've heard that, and we've been through that, and I've seen it and heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Him being the only one, is that tied to him being a black quarterback? Someone could probably make that argument.
I think for sure.
For sure. But yeah, that's it's weird. It really is weird. LeBron gets no credit for making it to 9 or whatever it was, 10 straight championships. He gets dinged for the 6 he lost. No one said anything about him last year, going out in whatever that was, the second round. So I don't know. It's just a weird around sports culture that is the case.
But it's a function of making it to that last game and being on that stage. And anybody that's watching the sport at that time sees that game, sees you.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you, but I mean, my other spin on it is like, go back a couple years, like I thought Jalen Hurts, like, was enhanced by his performance in defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Like he played very well, and the way the game unfolded, he wasn't to be found at fault for that loss. And I kind of felt like, he kind of like legitimized himself as an upper tier guy with that. Now, again, he comes back this year and wins and plays well.
I disagree though with your point on Jaylin.
Go ahead. Well, how so?
Because people pointed out that he played well in the game, but there was zero respect on his ability to play quarterback. I mean, people.
I wouldn't say zero respect.
Zero respect. I mean,
I think that's
not. That's. I mean, I guess if you take it in a literal term, I mean, yeah. I mean, people believes he's an NFL starting quarterback. I mean, yeah. So I guess take the zero respect out, but people never. After, even though he made it to the Super Bowl and all of that good stuff, they don't put him in the same respects as other elite quarterbacks. And of course, it was because of the loss, and from that time. I mean,
Yeah, I can't separate how I view it. I really, I don't know. I don't really respond to what the other views are. Like I came out of that game.
Your view. I mean, you don't like after that Super Bowl loss, we talked about it 100 times, and the quarterback rankings and this and that. You never put Jaylin amongst the elite quarterbacks.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. So that was the national level take as well.
I said he gained in the defeat. I didn't say it made him an elite quarterback.
No, I know. That's what I'm telling you. I'm saying
but
in
that's
the
not
defeat.
That's not a zero.
I know. I said I took it back. I said in a literal aspect.
You're attacking my point by being dramatic. The point was the point. I feel like he came out of that with a better reputation than he went into it because of how he played.
And I disagree. Yeah.
You can disagree.
I totally disagree. And I think a part of that is just sticking with him. As far as on the national media level. I don't know. It's weird. But I mean, I guess people can have their own takes on quarterback play as they're watching, but it doesn't align with the fucking history of the game. I don't know. The man, he's made it to 2 Super Bowls, 1-1, and he can't even make one top 5 or 10 list. It's weird. That's really fucking weird. And I don't know.
Where does your list have him now?
Huh?
Where does your list have him now?
Well, let's get to it. That's a great question. All right. So, quarterback rankings, NFL. All right. Top 10 as we're getting close to this NFL season now. I actually hit our fantasy football chat to check the temperature, man. See who's coming back.
The temperature.
Are you coming back?
Yeah, I'll be back for another season of disappointment.
For another season of disappointment.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's
man.
a part of me that just hates fantasy football, but I just, by the same token, I can't just separate myself from
Yeah. One thing I'm definitely not doing is I'm not doing like a bunch of leagues this year. I'm going to tone it down because
you say I say that every year, and then like something happens where
because people invite you and
it's
like All right, top 10. Okay, coming in at number 10 for me is I have
oh, this is your list.
Yeah, my list.
I thought you found a published list. Okay.
No. There's
and it was funny when I saw the preview. I was kind of like, oh, they're already circulating a QB list.
Oh yeah, I mean they have a ton out there.
Oh, it felt early. I don't know.
Yeah. Ray Charles. Who was Ray Charles?
I don't know. He can't see us.
Shout out to Ray. All right. Tell us your name, man, if you're there. I want to know.
He's literally named Ray Charles.
No, I mean, that was
come up with another name. What if that's his real name?
It could be. I don't know Ray Charles. It could be just a normal. Maybe it really is. No, it can't be. Right? Ray Charles has passed away, right?
I think so.
I don't know.
He should be dead.
Number 10 is Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. Okay. Now, that's who I have coming at number 10. Jared Goff. Of course, 2 years ago when the Detroit, hit the scene, very, very hit the scene very hard, and the coach and all of that, and Jared really he changed the outlook and the view on him 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Because he was looked upon as a guy who had underachieved, and he had a better season 2 years ago than last year, in my opinion. But he still, performed well and was very solid last year. So I have Jared Goff coming in at number 10. Okay, coming in at number 9 for me is Geno. All right,
really?
Yeah. I like Geno. Geno is very solid. He's solid as they come. He's you know, you just know what you're going to get from him. He's not elite, but he's not going to lose you a ton of games. You know, of course, he's with the Raiders now.
Like an amazing career. I mean, he came in. I think he was a late first round pick, I think, or top of the second. Really fumbled around the first couple of years of his career and was, for all practical purposes, written off as any sort of full-time starter.
Yeah. And
just kind of kept grinding and, you know, got the opportunity in Seattle and has played, you know, like you said, pretty darn well through there. I don't know if I'd have him in front of Goff overall, but I mean, a lot of respect for the career he's put together because it hasn't been easy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Coming in at number 8, I have Justin Herbert. Now, Justin has been a
Bo Callahan.
Justin has been a perennial like top 5, top 6 guy for a ton of people. You know, just a huge talent. Last year in the regular season, he was really strong. I mean, you know, Harbaugh came in and really changed the aspect of their offense. So he had whatever. It was like I want to say 20 touchdowns, 3 or 4 interceptions. It was, you know, low touchdowns but low interceptions. He managed the game and he did very well. You know, he did very well. Numbers were really solid. But you get to the playoffs, and again, as right on cue, right on schedule, James Harden, he throws more interceptions in the one playoff game that he did all season. And that's just very tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. You said no one saw that.
Did you see the movie Draft Day, Bubba?
Draft Day
with Kevin Costner?
I'm pretty sure because
that's where the Bo Callahan reference came from.
Okay.
There was a quarterback that was supposed to be the next big thing, and Costner had the first pick, and he ended up not taking him. And there was just all these weird things that his scouting guy kept telling him. And one of the things said is that Bo Callahan had his 21st birthday party and none of his teammates came.
Oh.
And they're kind of like, hey, why would that you know, there's got to be something wrong with a guy if you're the, you know, the next, you know, that'd be the equivalent of Arch Manning having no Texas Longhorns at his birthday party.
Exactly. Okay. So that's Justin Herbert at number 8. Okay. Coming in at number 7, I have Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. Okay, of course. Now Jordan Love is a guy, you know, very, you know, big live arm, sit right into place. From Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Now he still has a lot to prove in that aspect, right? To be the next guy in that trinity. But he's had some playoff success. He's been very solid in the regular season. Very good actually. He has a weird array of weapons. Like nobody that really is elite. But just a bunch of different like solid good guys around him. Yeah. I would like to see him with an elite weapon, see how that looks with that big live arm. So I think his numbers could actually be better if he has some of these weapons that some of these other guys have. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what here. I wanna, let's keep it that because, you know, it's 10. It gets rough because what I want to do is I wanted to sneak. I really, you know who I wanted to sneak on here?
Who? Dak?
No, I wanted to sneak Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Baker Mayfield
on here. But I'm not going to be able to. If I did though, it would have been for Jared Goff. Okay?
Really?
Yeah.
Just no respect for Jared Goff.
No, I mean, you know, Detroit is you know, elite talent.
This is a guy that got it, the Rams to the Super Bowl. Then he's moved out of there to Detroit in the trade, and then a lot of guys that would kind of be a big pushback in your career, and he's become involved in one of the most exciting offenses in football.
Yeah, because I mean, I take into account he has done good. He hasn't done. I wouldn't say he's done his part as far as to.
I have him in front of Geno and Herbert.
Geno, I would hear. Herbert, I wouldn't hear. Detroit is fucking loaded. Best offensive line in football. top 3 coaching staff in football over the course of years. Now, of course, with success, those coaches have been poached.
This year will be revealing.
But yeah, so this year will be
You
revealing.
lose both your
but
coordinators.
the talent is just fucking amazing over there, man. Sure. And it's like, and you can't, you know what I mean? And Herbert hasn't had that like at all. So I have to take that into account. You know, and somebody could say, hey, you're going to put Jaylin high on this list and he has talent. Well, Jalen's getting it fucking done. All right. Okay. So to continue at number 7, okay, what we had at number 7, we had Justin Herbert, right?
No, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love at number 7. I'm sorry. Thank you for keeping up. I'm not. All right. Number 6, I have Matthew Stafford. All right. I love Matthew Stafford, man. He's getting old now. He's getting up there. But Matthew Stafford is the model of consistency. You know, if you listen to a lot of like quarterbacks talk about the game, and when they get to Matthew Stafford's name, just listen how they talk about Matthew Stafford.
It's different.
It's different.
It's definitely different.
You know, they really respect him and his ability and what he can do. And you know, the Rams they're not a good team as far as a Super Bowl contender. They're never a Super Bowl contender, but him being there and at the helm, and he has had a Dan Marino, Duper, and Clay type of connection with Puka and the other guy, okay, who has left, Cooper Kupp. He has had that type of connection with those two guys, but those guys were like injured a ton over the past couple of years. Yeah. Again, Cooper has left now, so this year will be revealing for Matthew. But Matthew is, I mean,
he is. I really like him, but when you look at him, mm-hmm. if it doesn't work out with the Rams in the Super Bowl, I think that changes a lot for him. Because, again, he played a lot of years in some very mediocre Detroit teams. I think they made the playoffs a time or two. Yeah. Never a threat. And he was kind of almost this, like, talented guy stuck on a losing team. Almost like Archie Manning back in the day. Okay. That people knew he could play and do stuff, but, like, it was almost like his career was just hosed by being in a bad place. And then you literally make that Rams trade for Goff. And the idea is, well, you know, we know what Goff is. He got us to the Super Bowl, but he's not the guy to get us over the hump. Stafford is. Yeah. You know, everybody kind of fears him. They respect him. And, you know, they bring him in, and he does exactly what he was brought there to do. Yeah. I mean, and that really pushed, you know, his career. Delivering on that was enormous. And now he's kind of back in a Rams team that they're not a contending team, but – you know, you do enjoy watching him play. And that's the thing, like, he had an incredible year with Cooper Kupp, and then, like, Cooper Kupp goes down with injury, and suddenly he's got this incredible connection with Puka, and then Puka was in and out of the lineup last year, and then it's like, when he's there, the connection's there. When he's not there, he throws it, finds somebody else. I mean, he's really he is one of those guys. And I always put a lot in my evaluation of how the pros react to you. Yeah. How your peers react to you. And, you know, when I hear, you know, the way they talk about Stafford, and this is guys playing the same position and trying to beat him, and they really kind of talk about him in a special way. They do. And that carries a lot of weight when you look at that. I have no objection to Stafford at that level. All right. That's number 6, correct? I think so. 5 or 6, I'm confused. No, that was no more than 5. I know that. That was number 6. Okay. Because now we're entering my top 5 here. Bubba's top 5. Coming at number 5, I have Joe Burrow. Okay. Joe Burrow is extremely accurate. I mean, he's a dog. He's very competitive. They released some clip where he was going off on the team just today or yesterday. You know, from last season. And you know, he puts up gaudy numbers. He's a monster, man. He's a monster, and he did similar things in college. The thing about old Joe, and it really depends on how you look at football, how you view football, and how you evaluate things. Because out of all the quarterbacks, especially last year, you know, he has the best statistics. Okay, he's on, but again, he's on a team where it's a porous defense.
In offense, he just has a ton of weapons. I mean, elite, the best weapons you can really make an argument for out of every quarterback in the NFL. My thing is, what do you believe in? If you think Tom Brady is the GOAT, you're not going to have Joe Burrow in your top 3. Why? Because he's not that great at situational football. Joe Burrow makes a lot of mistakes when it on 3rd and 4th downs. And he doesn't extend drives to the extent as some of these other, elite quarterbacks that I have here in my top 4. And that is the reason for me having him at top 5, at number 5. What do you think about that?
No, I don't disagree. I think he is just in a situation where he's kind of allowed to just sling it without the defense, with the weapons he has and the type of games that you end up playing when you have a bad defense and you have good offensive weapons. It's an ideal environment to sling it around. But I think that decisions have to be made by him and by the organization if he actually wants to win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Because he appeared early in his career when he was on a rookie contract, and the way things are looking, he might not appear again in a Super Bowl. And that'll hurt any sort of, long-term reputation that he has. If he just spends the rest of his career, putting up crazy stats on teams that can't win a playoff game.
And also, I wanted to move along with this list. I think he's playing a dangerous game with publicly changing the team and recommending who they need to pay and bring back. Like, he was very vocal and adamant about bringing both of the receivers back at whatever X amount of dollar they're asking for. But in a salary cap league like the NFL, like now their top defensive player, the defensive end guy, the guy who led the league in sacks, he's without a deal. Well, yeah, if you max out your fucking receivers and you're making a fuck ton of money, there's not going to be a ton of money left. Yeah. So when you're advocating for a couple of guys and nobody else on the team, that can create a divide. That can mess with the ownership and the guys who are making decisions. Because you are the franchise guy. They are in their best interest to listen to you and what you're saying. But you're on first take. Like, yeah, we have to give Jamar whatever he's asking for. We have to give T whatever he's asking for. Well, what do you think? You think they have a fucking billionaire at the salary cap? I don't know.
No, and to that point, if you want to have credibility in saying that, you're going to have to offer discounts.
Okay, yeah.
It's got to start with you. If you want to be that guy and say, we need to pay him, well, how are we going to do it? Hey, I'm accepting this so that we can play with the right guys.
100%. All right. Coming in at number 4, this is where I have Jalen Hurts. Okay. For me, Jalen Hurts is the top 5 quarterback. I have him at number 4.
So you have him in the elite tier?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I do. Again, I don't. I listen to a lot of national media. I'm just a junkie, but also, I'm a guy. I'm a sports writer myself, so I like to listen to a lot of these guys, and just nobody has Jalen Hurts in the top 5, and I don't know. It's weird to me. Now I understand from the standpoint of him coming into the league and him having a gap to elite play that had to be closed as far as his abilities and his skills. But I think he has closed that gap, and I think he's there now. Now, the Eagles are a team that they're stacked. They do have a lot of talent. Now that they have lost some of that talent in this offseason. Of course, you can't pay everybody. So this season will be a season to really pay close attention to. But, I mean, he's a guy that gets it done in the end. I mean, he's a big-time quarterback when you need him to be a big-time quarterback. And that's why I have him at number 4.
I don't disagree. I mean, my take on him as an NFL guy, I just had a lot of respect for him based on how bad he was at Alabama. And I thought for him to even be a serviceable starter from the way he played football in Alabama was almost impossible. And so I've always respected that. But perhaps because he started so far back in my mind, I was reluctant to acknowledge eliteness. But when you kind of just stack it together year after year, it becomes an undeniable thing. And that's kind of where he's gotten. He's just continued to improve. Again, played gallantly in the Super Bowl loss. Had a little bit of funkiness in the gap year. Apparently didn't have a good relationship with Sirianni. But then this year, delivered when it counted. And he is that guy in the modern game that can extend plays and pick up first downs on the ground, consistently. He does have the tush push thing that, it's a factor. You get that team to 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It feels like there's a 70-30 advantage for them.
Inevitability.
In those downs. And there's a sense of inevitability about it. And, that's an important thing. And so I don't have an objection to your ranking on him at this point.
Now, 3 and 2 it really haunted me. And I'm going to tell you, well, matter of fact, before I get to 3, 2, 1, you know what, even more so than Baker, I wanted to sneak Baker in that 10-9. You know what I really struggled with, but I ended up just keeping him off the list? It's Jaden Daniels.
Everybody's favorite guy.
Everybody's favorite guy. That's another guy where I came out and whatever, and I was like, yeah, I think Jaylin is better than Jaden, and YouTube went crazy. And the only thing is, I need to see it again. Because again, we see a ton of rookie quarterbacks, especially in recent history. They come out and have a lot of success. And then the next year, it's a different story. CJ Stroud is one of them.
Well, I was going to say, he's a little curious he's not on the list.
Yeah.
He would have an argument. Like Baker has an argument.
Of course.
And I do think Jaden Daniels has an argument. But I also agree there's that thing with that. Like, okay, let's see what happens this year.
I'm not going to argue with anybody that has him in the 10-9, 8-7 range. He played to that ability last year. I just need to see it again because I have seen a bunch of quarterbacks come in and perform in this rookie season one way, sophomore slump season another way. That's it. And Washington is a team, they're doing it the right way. They gave him quite a bit of talent the first year. They loaded him up even more the second year. You know what I mean? On the offensive defensive line, they gave him put some more pieces on the defense. Okay. The only thing they have left now is the star receiver wants a new deal. But other than that, they're pretty loaded and they're coming back and looking for it all. So look out for Jaden because this should be another big year. But again, I've seen it, man. I've seen it a ton where guys just don't have that same second year. All right. Number 3, I ended up going with Josh Allen. Okay. Again, if you have Josh Allen at number 2, it's whatever. But for me, Josh Allen, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the game, of course. He's just such a huge talent. I would take him on my team any day and just go to war and whatever happens, happens. Now, with Josh Allen, it's not that he makes it's not like it's a mistake-riddled type of thing for him in big games or anything like that. It's just we don't see the same superhero Josh Allen in these big playoff games that we see all throughout the regular season. It's not bad. He's not whatever. He's not a totally different person. We just don't see that superhero Josh Allen. Now, is it because of attrition over the course of the season? He's fucking laying it all out on the line, and by the time the playoffs come, he just doesn't have that ability. I don't know. But they're a team. They always have some talent. This year, now he had a young receiving core, but hell, they were dominant all throughout the regular season. And was moving the ball. He had a strong running game, and of course one of the best offensive lines in football. So, what do you think about that?
No, he's definitely one of the top guys. Until he wins the Super Bowl, that's just going to kind of linger every year, until he gets it done. Because he's that talented. He should have the opportunity to do that. That should be something on his resume. And if he never gets it, it'll be a shame. But there's no, the talent's there. Like you said, he's not going into big games and throwing 4 picks. Right. He might have 1 or 2 decisions, but, everybody does.
Yeah, 100%. And
in a lot of ways, I was almost most impressed with him this year.
Yeah,
because there
man.
was such turnover in the receiver room, and he didn't have that guy like he had in Diggs that you could just really trust, and he just made do. He found big passes with different guys at different times, and never really had that one guy that he leaned on, but it didn't hurt his efficiency.
No.
It didn't hurt his productivity, and that's a pretty evolved level of quarterback play.
100%. 100%. Number 2, Lamar Jackson, man. Me personally, this is just a personal take. I take Lamar Jackson's his electricity, his ability to just electrify the game over Josh Allen, and it's just ever so slightly. And when you talk about the accolades, the MVPs, the stats that he's able to amass, I mean, it's nuts. It's ridiculous. He's so fun to watch, and all of that good stuff. Now in the big games, he's a guy that does make mistakes. Now, just coming off last season, I do believe, now he did make some mistakes, but I do believe his team made bigger mistakes than Lamar. If Mark Andrews doesn't drop that pass, that hit him in the hands. If he doesn't drop that pass, we're having a totally different discussion. And maybe if Lamar doesn't throw 2 picks, you're having a totally different discussion. So I understand he was a part of it, and he's always a part of it, and that's what's frustrating. But he's so freaking good.
Lamar is a guy that I really think is like an absolutely upper tier human being, and he's one of the few players in the league that I almost root for him like he's my own kid. And it's like I felt sick to my stomach when he made those mistakes against Buffalo. And it just was like, fuck, not again, man. There's no player that I want to succeed more than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I want it to go right for him and to get a Super Bowl ring. I just think that would be such an incredibly joyful thing and great thing for football, really, for him to do that over. Because in so many ways, he is the quintessential black quarterback. He's refused to kind of like change in fake ways. He's remained authentic to himself, even the way he handles business, with his mom being the agent and just doing things the way that he does. I just think he's a very special guy, and football's lucky to have him. And and that's why that all the things that he does right make me really want to root for him for things to go right.
100%. 100%. Coming in at number 1,
The fat guy.
the fat guy. Okay, that's who I have at number 1, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the thing about Patrick is, and when you're in your prospective sport, and the only comparison for you is a guy that is not active in your prospective sport, that tells you everything you need to know. I mean, it's just him and Tom Brady conversation. That's it. I mean, just like for a while, forever, it was LeBron, Jordan. It was whatever. You go Messi and who's ever the new the soccer guy now, whatever. And in every sport, that's what it is. And that's how you can identify who's the king of the hill at that specific time. And and his dominance, his reign over his division, over his conference, is ongoing. I don't know when it's going to stop until someone stops it. Like, these are elite guys he's going up against. These are not, powder puffs. And and he's a guy, he's not, his team is not overly, saturated with talent. Travis Kelce is getting older now. He's old. I mean, he's not getting older. I mean, he's this year he's coming out and is like, I had a terrible year last year. Wasn't as focused. This, and that, and the other. Of course, he had the whole thing with the girl, Taylor Swift, the whole time. And whatever, man. But he doesn't have the dominant statistical performances as he did early on in his career, and you can point towards Tyreek and a younger Kelce as a part of that. You can point towards the offensive coordinator change, with Eric Bieniemy leaving. All of that happened simultaneously at the same time. You could point towards those things. But again, if you like Brady, if you believe Brady's the GOAT, you got to love Mahomes at number one. He is the best situational quarterback in the game. The best fourth down team in the league wasn't the Eagles. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, look that stat up. And fourth quarter, fourth downs, he was fucking amazing and continues to be.
He has that competitive drive, regardless of what his body looks like or any of that. He has that competitive drive that the truly great people have. Brady had it. Jordan has it. That sort of thing that you just kind of refuse to lose. You play fearlessly in what are the tightest situations for other people, and that's what is just the most amazing thing about him, and the thing that for me makes him my favorite player in football, and the guy that I'll watch. I mean, I watched damn near every Chiefs game last year. And really just to watch him be him.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always pretty or whatever, but he's the guy that they all fear.
Yeah.
He's the guy that, no matter kind of what your lead is, no matter what, time or score situation is, if he's got a chance to get the ball, you're fucking scared or you're delusional.
Yeah.
And that's just, who doesn't want to be that guy? That's the definition of being the guy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When the rest of your sport fears you, then you're that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, and again, until somebody, they say this in boxing, like if you're the champion and I'm the contender,
okay,
for me to take the belt, I've almost got to beat you in a half. If it's close, the champ gets it. But I've got to go above and beyond to beat you. And until somebody puts together a run of play that's consistently better than Pat Mahomes, and I want to see that guy, because I don't know if he exists. I know he doesn't exist right now. He's going to be my top guy. And
that's that's the important piece of it, because I was listening to these two guys on Fox, and they were talking about this loosely in comparison to Brady. Because a guy was trying to make an argument about Brady not being the best quarterback every single year. But the difference is, yes, there were years where where Peyton Manning was the best quarterback. There were a year or two where Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback. And you can go down the line. There's, Ben Roethlisberger possibly, but whatever. Especially Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. They may have rotated in there. Drew Brees. All right. But neither guy were able to parse together consistent, dominant, years and also leading their team to Super Bowl victories during that stretch. It was just like parceled in here, there, sprinkled in. Yeah. And it was a rotation. It wasn't like Peyton Manning had 3 or 4 years together. And that's the thing about this. There's going to have to be, it doesn't have to be this level of consistency and dominance that Patrick Mahomes has done, but it's going to have to be something for us to raise our eyebrow. Like, if Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl next year, it's going to be great, and especially for his legacy and things. But you can't just all of a sudden, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league now.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. We're going to have to see it. Another.
The other part of the Brady career that and we'll see if Mahomes does it, is like, he kept coming back. Yeah. Like he won those titles early as a Patriot. Then they had a period of time when they didn't really win them. Yeah. And then then he kind of got winning them again. And then again, a couple of the later years with the Patriots, he looked maybe done. And then he goes to the Bucs and gets another one. Yeah. It's just that ability to kind of, people want to write you off. They want to gravitate toward the new fancy toy. Yeah, you just come back with a performance they can't deny. They can't take away.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. That's my top 10 quarterback list. I thought that was pretty fun here.
Yeah.
All right. I want to move along to basketball here for a second. Okay. I don't have a slide for this because it was the official news just came in. I was thinking about this yesterday. Okay. I really do hate when NBA teams they pay players, right? They pay these players simply because I think they're afraid to lose them. So official news just came down just now. The Phoenix Suns are giving Booker a $145 million extension. That's a 2-year max deal. It is the highest annual extension salary in NBA history. Now, he was already on, I think he was already in there for 2 to 3 years. So it basically keeps him in Phoenix to the 2029-2030 season. It's going to be the highest paid player in NBA history. In what fucking universe should Devin Booker be the highest paid player in NBA history? Let's know just right now between all these guys. Who gives a shit if Devin Booker walks into my office, I'm the Phoenix Suns, and he says, yeah, I need this, and or else I'm leaving. Oh, there's the door. It is unlocked. It is unlocked.
There's the door.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I have to pay somebody. Okay, I'll pay some G Leaguers. How many do I need to pay $5 million apiece to hit the NBA floor? I don't give a damn. I'm not going. It fucking hampers your team. Now, yes, Phoenix is going to be a bad team next year. But so if you know you're going to be a bad team, why do you have to do this?
Right.
I don't know. It makes no sense. No. I can see if you're on the cusp and you have this guy, you just have to pay, and if you pay him, you're going to be in championship contention. If not, you're going to be a bad team. Okay, and I can see overpaying a guy but come on, man, that's ridiculous.
No, we've talked about like when you keep players out of fear, if the thought of losing this guy forces you to pay above market for what he does, you're operating out of fear, and you're never going to be successful that way. You literally have to realize these players are disposable assets. And if you're not in a contending situation, there's no reason in the world to pay any one player $70 million a year. It makes no sense if you're not ready to win.
Absolutely not.
And the fact that you're doing it makes it more difficult to win, because you still need to add a lot of pieces to this team to sniff contention.
And hello, why not just fucking trade him?
Right.
It's impossible to trade him now. Nobody's gonna fucking trade for Devin Booker making fucking $60-70 million a year. Are you dumb? Are you insane? And then, if you're gonna be a bad team, why not trade him and get additional assets? Because on his original contract, which is still a max contract, but it's Devin Booker, teams are interested in Devin Booker. He's still at a reasonable age. But, when you get a 28, 29, and he's whatever, 35 years old or whatever he's going to be, of course, I don't have it right in front of me, but it's over. At that point, it's over. I hate that, because my team, the 76ers, we've been in that situation, and we do it time and time again. We did it with Embiid last year. That was fucking nuts, giving him a 3-year extension when he hasn't played. And Embiid I love Embiid, but come on, man. What are you doing, Daryl? And now on the other side, OKC, of course, maybe a day or two after they win, they extend and give the Supermax to Shea, deservingly so, back up the truck. Yesterday, they give Chet Holmgren
he's eligible for.
Right. The max that he's eligible for, the rookie max extension. And so that raised a couple of eyebrows, because you probably put Chet probably third in that mix on that team as far as right behind Jaylin. And it's like, okay, because if you're going to be paying all these guys, your depth is going to, so how important is Chet? And that's the conversation. But again, this is two totally different situations. This is a championship contending team. You could take the contending out. They're the champs. Okay. And the ages are different. These are young guys who still have champions who still have time and ability to grow. It's just a different situation.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with SGA. You have to do it. My eyebrows are raised with Chet, because to me, he's been a nice piece of that team, but he has not distinguished himself as a standalone all-star level player. And now you're committing a lot of money to him.
This deal is banking on him to grow.
Becoming that.
It's not. It can't be what he is right now.
Right, but you're hoping he grows in the shadow of the reigning MVP and in the shadow of really a good player in J-Dub.
It's a slight gamble. It's probably just a gamble.
Yeah,
period.
it's a gamble.
Yeah,
It's a gamble. It's not insignificant. Because if he doesn't grow, you kind of run out. Now it becomes a little bit of a burden on your franchise.
Yeah, because
I look to the Heat because I still look when they made the final. And you had, young Hero, young Bam.
Okay. And
the idea at that time was, these guys are playing well. They should get better. And the reality is they never got better. They never did, yeah. And they're kind of that. I know maybe they appeared in an All-Star game. Bam has whatever. But to me, they're
sub-level All-Star guys. Yeah.
Sub-level All-Star guys that you've treated like core guys, like really foundational pieces.
That's an issue when
you
get to that.
And I think that's a mistake. And the Booker, I do want to I stand on the Booker. Like, I wonder if Dallas, if it's able to work out for Dallas, do more teams look at the consequence of extending your star? And arguably, Luke has done a lot more than Booker. Yeah, a much better player, and Dallas made that decision. I certainly think Phoenix should have made the same decision and moved Booker on for the best deal they could find. Yeah. And I wonder if some of these other teams, particularly if it works out well for Dallas, I think you got to watch that. And the way that Oklahoma City and Indiana were constructed with depth. Yeah. Do we see a shift in the mentality of the league that you don't just die over these alleged superstars who may not quite be that for whatever money they let you pay them, versus saying, hey, no, maybe we're not winning now, and I don't want to pay this guy when he's 32, 33 years old as much as this extension would provide. Let's move him. Let's rebuild.
You would think with the new salary cap restraints that would be the case, but I would argue, or I would say no, that's not going to be the shift. And I think more NBA teams, they work out of fear than actual basketball knowledge. Yeah. And I think a lot of teams are going to look at the Dallas thing as like, there's no way we're going to get lucky and get the number one pick if we trade off our best asset here. And I think that's how they're going to look at it. Now, I think it'll take another team doing it on a singular level, and them not receiving the number one pick in the NBA draft and it working out for them. Yeah. But Dallas is just going to be a situation that sticks out like a sore thumb because they received that number one pick that no one in the world thought that was going to happen. So yeah. But on the Chet thing, it is interesting because it is a significant gamble now to think about it, because you have one more year with this team and then it's a 95% chance you're going to have to let the other center go, Hartenstein, which they kind of run they run a double center, but they're both only playing 27, 28 minutes a game. They literally split the duties. Yeah. And is Chet going to be able to man the primary center duties? I'm not sure of that. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen enough from his body, and he has to get in the weight. All of that stuff matters. And then again, Hartenstein is a great depth piece. And then I don't know what they're going to do with Jaylin. Yeah. There was a good debate on Facebook, and I have another one too that I have a slide for, but it was like Jaylin versus Paolo. And I'm in Orlando, so you get a lot of guys. And it was a major thing on Instagram. But a lot of guys was just like, "Oh, it's Paolo. What are you talking about? It's Paolo. It's Paolo. Just because one man won a championship, how can you even compare the two?" And then I'm looking, and they had the stats pulled up, and they're not like crazy different. I mean, because those guys have to realize, first of all, I think it is very close. And if I'm in a room and I'm in a front office and I have to make a decision, I think I'm going to take Jaylin.
Me too.
I think I'm going to take Jaylin. It's not because he won a championship or whatever. That's not like the deciding factor. It's just when I look at the two players, number one, I do think Jaylin could put up the same scoring numbers in Orlando if you just swap the players. And I do. And yeah, maybe OKC can still win with Paolo. So that's not the point. But my point is, for the people who thinking it's such a lopsided thing, Jaylin can score more if he had more shot attempts. I mean, Paolo is dominating him in shot attempts, and all of that. And Jaylin is a better shooter. He's a more efficient scorer. He's a smoother scorer. He's a 3-level guy, and his defense is a lot better. Like Jaylin is his defense is really fucking good. He's a really good perimeter defender. Paolo is not. Paolo is more. He can do better with his thing that he does well with defense is more post defense. I don't mean post. I just mean guys who can drive and he can hold up well. Not Giannis, but who can fucking guard Giannis? But any guy who can kind of go to the rim, Paolo can hold up on. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been very critical of Paolo's game. I think here's the thing that I'm looking at. I don't think you win a championship with Paolo as your number one. And so to me, by default, he's a number two, which is exactly how Jaylin Williams just won a title. And so to me, they're ultimately playing the same role in their best possible situation.
Okay.
Now, if you flip-flopped it, Jaylin's stats would go up, but team success would probably remain relatively flat. And if you put Paolo in OKC, his attempts would go down. His numbers would probably mirror Jaylin's, and he would be the number two to Shea. So I think as the number one, neither one is the guy to carry, and they're both probably better suited at number two. So that should put them in the same relative tier.
They're in the same tier.
And so why should the compensation be that different? Why should there not be a relatively balanced preference between the two guys as to who you think you're better off with?
But and my point to bring Jaylin up is I think a bad team or something is going to they're going to throw the house at him. And it may be deserving so at that time, depending on what kind of year he has coming up here, but we'll see.
And he'd be a fool to go.
Yeah. It depends.
Doesn't depend much. No, you're in a great organization playing with people that are really good. And again, when I say great organization, this is an organization that kind of turns over every stone to try and build a team.
Yeah.
They're not gonna stop doing that. And for you to just, hey, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, or I'm gonna go to Washington, or one of these other teams that just can't get out of their own way, what is the point of that? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And you're this whole get the bag thing, but it's like, what is the difference in the bag? And what opportunities do you have after your career if you're on, if you're the 17-year guy, most of your career with the OKC, who maybe won 3 titles during your career, maybe not back to back or anything, versus a guy that won 1 title early in his career and bounced around as a miscast number 1 on a bunch of teams that couldn't win shit. Like, what is your post career out of that?
Yeah.
I mean, winners matter. Winners have opportunities in front of them. People are, they're going to want, what was it like being a part of that? Does anybody care what it was like to be a part of the, 2017 Brooklyn Nets? No, they don't give a shit.
I had to look it up just to make sure. So he's 24 and he's going to have the opportunity after next year to re-up. Jaylin Williams I'm talking about, but also like ego can get in the way because like just his matter of luck. These other 2 guys were eligible and up before him. So like you may get to a point where they maxed these 2 guys out. It was time. It was whatever, and then he's just the last guy on the bus. And it's like, well, hey, we extended these guys. We gave these guys max contracts. Technically, we can't give this to you. We can offer you this. And and then another team comes with a max offer. And I understand what you're saying. What is the difference in that bag?
Right.
And maybe OKC offers him the max, and then they just send it around at 3. I don't know.
But if you make decisions based on your ego, is that ever a good thing?
No, it's not. But but at that time,
you're kind of acknowledging an error.
No. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not. I'm staying in OKC as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, at that point, he'll be 25 years old. Possibly another extended playoff run. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And he takes another step, and it's like, okay, well, damn, I'm here. I understand you can only offer me this, but shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, at 25, one-time, potentially two-time NBA champion.
And what if he plays better than Chet? What if Chet doesn't grow or take another step next year?
I think he played better than Chet this year. I think he'll play better than Chet next year. I have no worries about him playing better than Chet.
So what if he looks at that and say, "Damn, you paid this guy this"?
Yeah, that's where the ego goes.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying.
And that's why it's not always a good decision maker. But at 25, one maybe two titles, you were at the absolute height of your marketability.
100%.
As a player, what do you do with that? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I would lean towards staying if they've got the infrastructure to continue. But if you're not going to do that, you got to leverage yourself to a place that matters and not just take, the biggest bag and go to Timbuktu with it.
Yeah.
It's got to make sense.
It's got to make sense. The other comparison, really quick here, I wanted to talk about Jordan McCray. Shout out to Jordan here. He put out this post: who's better at their peak, CP3 or Lowry? Kyle Lowry. Now, of course, this is a setup, right? So you got a lot of guys again coming on the post that says CP3. What are you talking about? Why is this even a debate? Chris Paul. Now, apparently, I guess he had a conversation with one of his friends, and I guess one of his friends said Kyle, and he just wanted to make a mockery of him, which I don't mind at all. But my comment on there, I said CP3 is the better player, and of course he is. Chris Paul is a better basketball player than Kyle Lowry, but Kyle Lowry is a better fit on any team that is trying to win. And also, Kyle has never been a locker room problem. Matter of fact, any team he's been on, they'll tell you he's been a leader in that locker room and someone that they depend on. And there are many NBA stars and role players who hate playing with CP3, who CP3 has gotten into fights with, coaches who despise CP3, referees who they petition to not even referee Chris Paul games. Like that matters. Yes, Chris Paul is a better individual player than Kyle Lowry, but if I need a point guard and I have a championship contending team, and I need to pick one, and they're both there in their primes, and like I said again, there's a championship contending team that just needs a point guard. I'm going Kyle, man.
Are you? Because
I can't take that big of a chance to fuck up my locker room. I think that CP3 his struggles to relate or whatever that missing link is to like or be liked by teammates. I think that's a big piece of why he's never won anything. And you look at all these older guys that podcast and whatever it is, the Gills Arena, the Jeff Teagues and all that. When they talk about Chris Paul, just listen to him when they talk about him. Oh yeah, his skill is crazy and he can do this and that. But he's a fucking asshole. Like that's tough to play with every day, man. That's tough. Him and fucking Blake Griffin don't even talk anymore. That was a dynamic duo, or I guess trio with Jordan. Like that, I don't know. I think that stuff matters a lot.
I generally think it does, but I think the margin between Chris and Kyle is enough that I would make that work for me.
And I'm not mad at that. But I don't know. I think, Kyle is a hell of a player, man.
He is, but to me, Chris Paul's.
And then I also got to take into account Chris Paul is a universe. That's another thing. Like even outside of behavior issues, he's a universe. It has to.
Like he's a misbehaving guy in kindergarten.
He is. I mean, that's literally how he behaves. That's how he carries himself. But like, he's a universe upon himself. He's a LeBron. He's a Luka. He's a like the ball has to be in his. I'm talking about CP3 in his prime. Yeah. You know, it's not. You know. I think, you know, whatever. But James Harden, but he's not those guys.
I remember his college coach had the great comment. He's like, they're asking, what are you going to do with your offense with Chris Paul? He's like, I give Chris the ball at the beginning of the game, and he gives it back to me at the end. That's the offense. I mean, I don't know. Chris Paul, over time, I've kind of been a bit of a convert. I always hated him and always thought he was an asshole, and he probably is an asshole, but it's...
you can take the probably out.
When I look at the long-term picture of it, I mean, I think I would take him over Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and that's fine. Kyle is it's an odd like person to pick because CP3 is a Hall of Famer. He's a fucking one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. So it's it's set up from the beginning.
Kyle Lowry's like, but he's an interesting career.
Yeah,
like I mean, he's one of those guys. I remember like when he got to Villanova. Like they were kind of like they weren't 100% on him when they got him, and they're doing like off-season runs and stuff, and they're just like, his team always fucking won. Like, you know, he looked a little fat, like even when he was in college, and it's just like every time there was a scrimmage or live action, his team ended up winning.
I think it matters, man.
And then he kind of got going in the pros and was just this feisty guy, and kind of found his prime in Toronto, got the title. And then, like, he's kind of hung on a pretty long time and accepted the diminished role. So there's going to be a lot of, like, younger people right now who kind of only remember him as the whatever, the veteran on the Heat squad or the veteran on the Sixers squad, and don't really have an appreciation for what he looked like when he was in the prime of his career.
And he was good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like the Toronto teams with him and DeRozan. I mean, they were really fucking good, and he was a really good player.
When he started in Houston, right? He was a part of that organization?
Maybe, possibly. I just remember the Toronto days.
Yeah, that was definitely his prime and peak years. But yeah, it's again, hell of a career for him.
All right, I want to move it along quickly here. We got a couple of other things here to hit to. This is going to be really quick. I wanted to give a shout out to Angel, man. So Angel Reese is going to be on one of the covers of 2K26, and then on the left side here is just a string of her most recent games. She's really turned it up, and one of the reasons why I wanted to give Angel a shout out is because for a few things. Number one, whenever we talk WNBA, it's always Caitlin Clark related, and of course she's the buzz. She gets the views. She's very divisive. People want to talk about it, have a comment on it either way. And then with Angel, she also started the season slow. She started the season off slow. A lot of people think that has something to do with, whatever, all of the off-season stuff, the podcast and all of this other stuff that she was doing that may not have been directly related to basketball. But I think it's important to note that she's really turned it around, and she's now, she's one of the best players in the WNBA right now. And I think it's just not fair if podcasts or whatever groups and platforms don't mention that.
All right.
God damn it.
I mean, yeah. Shout out to her. Incredible stuff.
Don't do that, man.
What?
You're part of the problem.
I'm not part of the problem. I'm not a fan of the NBA. I don't consume their WNBA. I don't consume their product. I don't care.
I've been watching.
I know you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't have offered up that take.
I want to give now. You're a coach of one of the teams in the Ace League, okay? And of course, I've been watching all of the games.
Might get fired due to recent results.
And I wanted to give a quick shout out to some of the players here. Let me see here. No, I don't really need the audio, but they're going to hear it anyhow. So first, let's give a shout out to one of the guys here, Turbo, man. Turbo is a guy that you know and you noticed from the early games here. He's really good, man.
He beat us in week 1 with top shotters. And there's nobody in the Ace League that I enjoy watching move more than him.
Yeah.
he just floats across the ground. And in every facet of him, he can jump. He's not a big guy, but he can jump. He can accelerate. He can decelerate. He can turn any direction you want on a dime. Like just a marvelous athlete, and just a really good player. And he gets after it, plays hard. I've seen him play 3 games now, and really a joy to watch. And if you just appreciate athleticism and how people kind of move and can do things, watch him.
No, yeah, he's awesome, man. For one of the guys that I really didn't know before the Ace League started, like he's like you said, he's a really joy to watch, and he surprised me, man. He surprised me. I mean, you could see it from the moment he steps on the court and starts to do things like, okay, this guy's different from a lot of the other guys. And shout out to our guy Luke throwing in my alley in one of those highlights, man.
Yeah.
Luke, I didn't know you had the passing gene in you.
Oh, Luke can pass it. Luke's underrated as a passer.
Underrated passer. There you go. Underrated passer. All right. Another guy's actually a guy that is on his team here, Jordan Sears. Okay, guy who played at LSU. Okay, and had entered the NBA draft. He's a guy that really gets to it, man. He's like a dynamo. He's like a running back out there playing the game of basketball.
And so again, we play him week 1. You're looking at the lineups. I didn't know him from a can of paint, as Bubba says. And he has this kind of like broad-shouldered build. He's not super tall. And if somebody told you he was like an all-state running back, you probably wouldn't disagree. But I wasn't expecting a tremendous amount. And he goes out and had, I think, a 20-plus point game against us. And there's pictures being posted the next day. And I look, and he's like, oh, he played at LSU last year. Like, that's no goddamn joke to play in the SEC.
No. So, and he had like 25 in the senior game. I was looking some of his stuff up, man. He's a real player now.
Yeah, legit player. I think he's from the Volusia County, Daytona area, is what I understand. But, terrific player. Again, the Ace League was off for a year. But to come out and to be essentially introduced to players like this that I didn't know before. I mean, there's always a lot of familiar faces out there, which is great. But kind of seeing some of the newer guys and guys you haven't heard of or seen before and watching what they can do firsthand and live, it's fun. That's one of the joys of the Ace. And again, arguably 2 of the more compelling guys. Again, not to discredit playing at LSU, but they're not huge names. Yeah, that you're gonna the whole city's gonna know about. But that's kind of the hidden joy of the Ace. If you come out to games, you will see some dudes that like, oh, I didn't quite hear this guy, but he's freaking really good. Yeah, I was talking to you. We got Shaq Jules on our team. Yeah, and just in terms of pure ferocity of dunking, it's something to behold. Yeah, he'll get 3 a game. He will get 3 dunks a game, and as hard as he throws these things down, it's ridiculous. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Now another guy here that I wanted to give a shout out to is a guy I just saw recently. I think we both just saw. And that's one of Culpepper's sons. Now, both of his sons, Dante Culpepper, former NFL player, both of his sons are on the Ace League team, NFC Elite here. And the thing about it is, I had no idea that Dante Culpepper had sons, number 1. Number 2, it was nice to see Dante Culpepper in the building. Number 3, when you're watching the NCF Elite team, like when you're watching them warm up, and a lot of those guys didn't look familiar, and I'm like, oh man, this is not a great team, and this team might get blown out here, and all of those guys, especially the guys that they play a lot of minutes to, all of them can do stuff, and all of them have like a skill that is really good, man. And Chase, I believe his name is Chase. Chase Culpepper, like he's good. And it's surprisingly good because I don't know. I didn't know. I think I would have thought I would have heard of one of Dante Culpepper's son if he was good at basketball. But this guy's good at basketball.
They both played at Ave Maria, which is down in Florida on the West Coast. It's an NAIA school that they're not. It's not some super popular league or anything, but. Both of the guys, one's much thicker than the other. Mm-hmm. Both of them really understand how to use their bodies to their advantage. They're both physical players offensively and defensively. And the thing that jumped out to me as soon as the game was live, they both believe in each other a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they just believe they can make plays. They're not playing timid or trying to fit in or any of that. They just went and played. And it's kind of like, I'm going to do my thing. Are you going to stop me or not? Like, because if you're not going to bother to stop me. And their physicality offensively, like, you have to make a decision that you're going to fight this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to just casually stand in front of him and he's going to find a pass or something else to do. He's going to get into your chest and go downhill. And, and you got to have the willingness to stop him or you're not going to do it. and that's the thing. It's they play basketball like some people play football.
Yeah.
It's, I'm going to run up in this hole and either you're going to have the balls to stop me or you're not.
Yeah.
And they create a lot of positive play with their aggression, and it's physical and mental aggression, and they play with great confidence. And so caught me off guard. I mean, credit to them, but in seeing them twice now, I kind of see what they are.
Yeah, caught me completely off guard. Now Houston is the more thicker one, pause, and he's like a really damn good rebounder. And then Chase, another thing that caught me off guard with Chase is he I need to see him a couple more times, but he has a chance to hit Bubba's water cold, man. Like he gets after it defensively, and it's almost the same mentality as his offensive game. Like he's gonna get up in you. He's gonna, he's
he gets very low and wide in his defensive stance. He gets trying to get right up in the guys, physical space. And they do. I mean, their dad was a football player, and for a quarterback, a very physical football player. And that apple didn't fall far from the tree. I mean, they take those characteristics into the game of basketball, and do it well.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. I can't wait to catch more Ace League and talk more about some of those guys. I mean, there's some amazing guys in there for sure. Okay, here. I think lastly here, before we get out of here, I'm gonna give you I'll tell you what. We'll get to we'll talk some college. We still got time for college.
I thought you were going to talk Larsa Pippen.
There you go. We'll talk Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen, 51 years old, says she learned age was just a number when a 47-year-old man she dated was more immature than the younger men she dated. That's funny because that was a conversation that we were having pre-show of the Gorilla Boys podcast yesterday. I went to their 1 year celebration or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And there were some people in the room, and we were talking about that because this one girl, she's whatever. I think she said she was she's 30 or 32, and they were asking her like, okay, what age was the youngest you'll date? And she was like, normally it would be nobody my age. I only date older. But she says that currently she has like a 23 or 24-year-old or something now that she's dating. And
she only dates older, but's got a 23-year-old.
Now. Like she gave him a chance. And and basically what Larsa said was the ultimate thing in the room. Okay, that a lot of older men they're finding are just as immature as younger men.
Men are generally immature.
Yeah,
I think, but I think there's a different dynamic. I think when a woman of her age is dating a younger guy, he's subconsciously trying to like find her maturity level and sort of match it to a degree.
Yeah,
it's something he's subconscious. She's older. She's more seasoned. Whatever. She lives a certain way. I've got to match that if I want to be around for any length of time. And so I think they put that foot forward first. Where I think an older guy, that's not a priority for him. And quite frankly, whether you want to manifest it as immaturity or just energy, I think older guys, older people in general who don't want to be old, kind of trend a little bit to the immature and the whimsical to not be old and stale. And so I think it kind of works on both sides. But we have a couple friends at the show that are kind of in that dating category or whatever. And like when they've talked about like dating some guys their age or just older guys in general, there is this kind of theme that some of those guys come off as like really sort of like needy and kind of like almost old schoolish, that they're looking for a woman to kind of like be a 1950s housewife, make the dinners and do these things. And again, if you're kind of like a independent woman who's kind of like whatever, that's probably not your lane. That's probably not what you're looking for. And if you're talking to somebody and that's kind of where they're coming from, it's just not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that, if there's a guy 25, 30 years old, whatever, dating a 50-year-old woman, he's playing into his maturity. He's not trying to act immature, But again,
that's a good point.
Drop that same guy around a 22-year-old girl, and he looks a lot different. Like he's going to behave different.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about it that way, but I definitely I agree with that point. I was just going to say I don't know. I don't know how much of that is age related. I don't know how much of that age has to do with it. Because like you said, I look at it as from a standpoint. The first thing you said was just most men are immature. I really think it's case by case.
Compared to the expectations women have.
Yeah. Not just generally speaking. Not just generally speaking.
No, I think a lot of times we're fine with how we are.
Yeah.
But there's definitely women will be like, really? That's what we're worried about right now? Or whatever. Or Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, for sure. And some of it too is they I don't know, because I would draw immaturity or maturity. I would draw maturity also to where you're at in your life and what you have assets wise. But I guess women don't, because
How so? Explain a little bit.
Like I would draw a comparison for maturity to having a home, or at least having a place or a car,
like you as the male?
career. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Going away from attitude and personality base. I'm talking about I would draw more comparisons also to, like I said, being stable.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I don't think women. I think of course women look at that, but I don't think they draw that link to maturity for that. And if you look at it that way, a lot of younger men are not going to have what older men have. When you look at it from a total picture point of view.
Right. No, I could see that. Yeah, like somebody who has their life stuff in, they have transportation, they're steadily employed, they have a home, even if it's something they own, they have something that's theirs. They're not they don't have a random roommate or or have just people living with them that are just they're here because whatever. Actually doing that, and I definitely there's a part of me that equates that sort of stuff with adulthood. Like when you are financially independent and can take care of yourself, there's a certain level of adulthood that you're participating in, and if you can't do those things, it just doesn't line up the same way. You know? And no, I definitely think that would be part of the puzzle.
No, for sure. But Larsa is she's racking them up, man. So shout out to her.
Quite the body count.
Shout out to her. Stella got her groove back, and she's not trying to give it up.
Did she ever lose it though? Hasn't
Probably,
she just been smashing for a couple decades?
So just Stella has her groove.
Stella never lost it.
Stella never lost the groove in this case.
Stella's a fucking porn star.
She might be.
Yeah.
If all of these NBA guys want her. No, that's for sure. But yeah, that's been the show. We'll be back next week. We have another podcast is going to be joining us, and Cold Milk is his name. He's going to be one representative of that podcast, and then we'll keep going from there, man. Catch you guys next week.
We're out.